It's Crash Bandicoot 2! Cortex Strikes Back!
Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Crash Bandicoot n.sane Trilogy. We have finished up the first game, so it is now time to begin Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Considered by some to be the best game in the series, usually if it isn't this one it's Crash 3. This is my personal favourite of the trilogy, so let's get started. Let's begin a new game. No, I don't want to disable the autosave. And let's go! I said let's go! Come on!
Crystals, of course. No!
But Dr. Cortex, to reach full power, we need not only your Master Crystal, but also the remaining 25 slave crystals from the surface. How do you expect to retrieve them when we don't have any Earthbound operatives left?
You fool! Do you think I'm unaware of the situation? If we don't have any friends left on the surface, then we'll need to find an enemy.
Crash! Dad! My battery is fried. Make yourself useful, big brother, and bring an extra battery for me.
Okay, so welcome to Crash Bandicoot 2. So a few things went down there. Firstly, this is where we were originally introduced to Coco. Obviously she was made a playable character in this, and in Crash 1 through the n.sane Trilogy, so we already know who she is. And we have quite a few things to go over here in terms of changes, but I'll mainly be saving that for the first main level. This is essentially, it doesn't say anything here. If this is in the original, I just call this intro. It's level 0, basically. You don't need to break any of these boxes or anything like that. It tells you there's 10. You don't get anything here. So the game assumes that you did not get all of the gems and rescue Torna in Crash 1. You defeated Cortex instead. And it turns out that underground, underneath Pinstripe's lab, we never know what's beyond that. It turns out that that was home to a crystal. More on that in a minute, though. Because, well, there's a bit more story here. It's much chattier than Crash 1.
Well. If it isn't Crash Bandicoot, welcome. I apologize for the crude means used to bring you here, but I'd rather expect a written invitation would have been turned down. I need your help. Surrounding you are a series of 5 doors. Through each door lies a well-hidden crystal. The crystals look like this. Bring me the crystals, Crash. That is all I will say for now. We will speak again.
Yeah, we're gonna do what he says, even though we already know that he's the bad guy here. The cutscene told us it's called Cortex Strikes Back, but Crash is dumb. And I'm not very original, so I'm going to go to level 1, Turtle Woods. Be kind to the boxes to earn a special gem. Thank you, because that gem is otherwise probably the hardest gem to get in the game. And now that we're in Turtle Woods, we're going to immediately exit out of it. You need to do this to get a trophy in the PS4 remake. It's the only missable trophy in the remake. All of the others can be done in a single playthrough, but if you grab the crystal, that's it. You can't get the trophy again without restarting the game. And I don't know if I like to be okay, yeah, well.
No, Crash. I said bring me the crystals! Now, get back in there.
Okay, you can do that multiple times. I think there's about 3 of them. So yeah, the objective here is to collect crystals. Cortex found what's known as the Master Crystal, and we need to find the remaining 25 slave crystals. As we were told by his new assistant, Embryo's not here. Well, he is here, but he's not with Cortex. His name is n.sane, which I always used to pronounce as N-gin, because I didn't realize there was a pun. We never know what the N stands for, though. We know it's Neo-Cortex, or Nitrous Rio, or Nefarious Trophy. We never know what the N in N.gin stands for. But since Cortex no longer has any allies, he has to trick Crash into thinking there's a bigger threat when we know really it's him. And he's tricked Crash into gathering the remaining 25 crystals. So I don't know if Crash is actually aware of what he's doing.
No, Crash. To save the world, I need crystals. Crystals! One more time. They look like this. Crystals, Crash. Go back through one of those doors and bring me crystals!
Right, I'm going to try this one more time because I think there's one more. And it's just funny. I think I discovered this by complete accident. I just decided to see, I wonder what happens if you don't grab the crystal. And then I just decided to leave. I think I did that in the original game. But see, I'm not sure if Crash is actually aware of what he's doing by collecting the crystals, because in Crash to Insanity, he doesn't really acknowledge like his awareness of what the crystals are. He's just attracted because it's like, ooh, shiny. And that's pretty much that's all he does with that. So I don't know if he's aware of what he's doing. Same with the gems, really. So is he going to do more, or are we going to repeat ourselves?
Look up at the doorways. There is a big crystal-shaped slot. Fill all 5 crystal slots in this warp room by retrieving 1 crystal from each of the 5 areas. Only after we have filled all of the slots in this room can we continue on our quest. This is the last time I remind you.
And I believe that is what will then give you the trophy. Besides, it's not up on the door anymore, of course. It's actually on the side of the door. You can see what we can gather. Got a gem, a crystal, and a bluer gem. So there are only 5 color gems in this game compared to the 6 of the first game. And their means of collecting them, it's different this time. Where in the first game there was nothing special. They were just, you obtain them the same way as normal gems. In Crash 2, however, they are obtained by all sorts of different means. And the first one in this level, we just have to complete the level without breaking any boxes. Simple enough to do. This mud here, you can still move in it, but you'll move really slowly. And Crash has quite a few additions to his moveset. Firstly, I'm convinced they slightly increased his ground speed. I'm not sure about in the original game. I think in the original Crash 2, he's definitely lighter than what he was beforehand. But in this game, in the remake, I definitely think his ground speed is slightly above that of Crash 1. But the physics are still the same. I'm trying to do this without breaking anything. He has a slide maneuver. You can press either circle or R1 to perform it. And if you jump while sliding, you can do this super jump, which is great. This is an ability I love using so much. You get a good distance in airtime, and I barely avoided that. And if you press the tornadoes, if you can do the tornado spin, oh, there goes Aku Aku. If you can do the tornado spin right as you take off from a jump, right as you take off from a slide jump, you can actually gain a slightly higher jump. I think it's a glitch that was present in the original and it's included here, and it can take you, and that's how you can get up there. But you don't have to fight the rats. Right, let's grab this crystal. Come on, Crash. The only problem is that I'm always worried that if I fail, I'm going to end up getting hit by the rats. But they're rats in the original, but I think here they're moles. Rats or opossums, one or the other. And there it is, that's how you get the blue gem. I don't know if there's anything in the game that tells you about that. But I'm not going to waste time going through all the loading screens, so I'm going to do it the way everybody does it. fall down a pit, and because you didn't break open any checkpoints, you're right back at the beginning, but you still have the crystals and the other gem. Now, I think in the original, if you like complete the level again, and it will tell you got however many boxes you broke out of 0. I think that's the clue you're given. I've never actually looked for it myself, because I always go for the blue gem first. Oop. I forget the armadillo. And you can, so in addition to the super jump you get from sliding, you can also crouch in place, and you can crawl, but your speed is really slow when you do it, but that also allows you to perform the super jump. But you won't have any momentum when you use it. And you have a belly flop. So just press circle or R1 when you're in the air. I don't think you need to use it on that thing, I think you just got to stand on it. But, you know, I just find belly flopping on some certain things to be satisfying to do. Now, in all 3 games of the n.sane Trilogy, they added the box tally. This, in Crash 2 Original, this was the first game to have the total number of boxes you've broken, but it didn't tell you how many were in the level. You just saw how many you broke. It wouldn't be until Crash 3 that would become a thing. It still tells you how many there are at the end of the level, which is better than Crash 1, where it didn't tell you anything. And also news to Crash 2 are these. Uh-oh. And we're off to a good start. I died in World 1-1. But yeah, we're introduced to those. Ow. We are introduced to those deadly birds. But I mean, they look just like the birds from Crash 1, only with a different colour. But these are nitro boxes, as the side of the box will tell us. They're kind of like a more dangerous version of the TNT crate. If you touch them, they explode. So you can't even jump on them, you have to avoid them. The only way but they still add to your box count. In every stage... Oh. It's a good thing I have that glitch. In every stage, there is one of those switch boxes, the exclamation ones, that's coloured green. If you destroy that, that will blow up every nitro crate in the level. Nitro crates can still be blown up by like spinning enemies into them and such, but you'll rarely get the opportunity to do that. So that's it. That's what Wrath of Cortex refers to as the nitro switch crate or switch box, whatever it is. And that's how we destroy all of the nitro crates. In Crash 3, you can also shoot them with the bazooka, but we don't have that here, which is a shame because at the end of this game, you do get the speed shoes from Crash 3 to help you with the time trials. But that's the only power-up you get here. I kind of wish you could actually use all of the power-ups that you get from Crash 3 in Crash 1 and 2. Like a double jump in Crash 1 would be really useful. Right, you know, a death tornado spin in the high road can absolutely break the level. You know, except without breaking the level. You know what I mean? We're also introduced to bonus platforms. You know, in Crash 1, the Torna, Brio, and Cortex levels weren't mandatory for the box count. The Cortex ones you still need the key. But other than saving the game, they weren't mandatory for the box tally until the n.sane Trilogy. But the bonus rooms have always been mandatory for the box count here. And most importantly with Crash 2, in the original, you can still die and get the gems. Unless there's a death route in the level, we'll get more of them later. Unless one of those is in the level, you could complete the level and die as many times as necessary. Right, this guy is kind of annoying. Actually, no I can't. Okay, I need to bounce off of him. Ooh, how did I not get hit there? There we go. I would say levels are a little bit longer in Crash 2 compared to Crash 1. But again, since I don't need to worry about doing them all in one go, that's much better. You know, death routes are any level that has a death route, you can't die before you get to the death route. Once you have, and once you've jumped on the platform, you're fine. But before then, you can't afford to die once. You know, it's not even like Crash 1. Oh, that made me terrified. It's not like Crash 1, where you only had to worry about it after getting the first checkpoint. Crash's eyes were kind of scary there. You can't afford to die at all. But thankfully the death routes are usually quite early on in the level. really annoying in Piston It Away, which is my least favourite level in this game. But that's not until the 5th warp room, because Crash 2 still has a number of issues. Many of them involve backtracking. We didn't have to do it that much in Crash 1, but it's certainly something we're going to be doing a lot of here, and it is painful. And now we have the Crash Dance. In Crash 1, the n.sane Trilogy, that was... Oh.
Well done, Crash. I knew I could rely on you. Now listen carefully. These holograms are hard to maintain. During the course of my intellectual pursuits, I have stumbled across a force that threatens to destroy the world. The crystals are the only means of containing it. The fate of the world is at stake. It is imperative, therefore, that you bring them to me.
Are you there, Crash? Crash! Crash! Are you there, Crash? Are you there, Crash?
Okay, well, she's wasting our time. No, I'm not going for the relics again. Alright, well, to go into my point about backtracking, pits. This level truly is the pits. Because you are going to be backtracking in this level, and this is just the first of several. You have to do this in the pit, you have to do it in Digging It, in Piston It Away, in Cold Hard Crash, the most infamous level of the game. I honestly can't pick which is my least favourite between Cold Hard Crash and Piston It Away. And if we were to go into the trilogy as a whole, that would also include Future Frenzy in Crash 3. They're all annoying for different reasons. Yeah, this is just because of the camera. In Digging It, it's the camera combined with the fact that you have the bees flying towards you. And in Cold Hard Crash, you have ice physics, and there's a gem on the death route that prevents you from being able to backtrack through said death route, and it's filled to the brim with nitro crates. And I'm going to go this way. And in Piston It Away, you have to... There's a death route that you have to ignore just so you can get to one box further down the level, get through the very dangerous pathway, and back again, which contains some really tight sections where you can barely avoid getting hurt. And then you have to then try and make it back without dying, and hop on the death route. You're better off just jumping onto the death route, killing yourself because you can't travel back, and then that'll take you back to the main path, and you just do it from there, because then you don't have to worry about trying to complete it all without dying. Because once you've jumped on the death route, even if you die on it, you're fine. The death route will always be there. And see, one thing they didn't fix for the n.sane Trilogy is the backtracking camera, because you can't see where you're going. And that's why people don't like backtracking in these levels. Future Frenzy is the worst with this, as is Digging It. Because you can't see what's coming. Like this turtle. I've had plenty of close calls with him and another turtle that were about to appear, as well as these armadillos. I think that's an armadillo as well. Later on we'll be getting armadillos with armor. Kind of redundant, but I guess it's tougher armor. See, like that, you can't see them coming. That's what's so annoying about them. Woo! And you gotta be careful of the pits as well, just like that. Thankfully I'm back here, and all those crates are still broken. Okay. I don't think the armadillo's tails are damaging, at least not in this version. I don't know about the original. Right, there we go. Okay, there we go. Can't jump over that for some reason. Yeah, and this is the easiest one of these. Now that switch box that we activated back there brings to life those outline boxes that are in this pathway. So now it's this path again, but because we died, all the enemies have respawned. And should we die... Oh, cool. Should we die... Or should I die... I'd be sent back to that other checkpoint that I hit. So sometimes when you're backtracking, you do have to be careful when you hit certain checkpoints, especially in Future Frenzy and Gone Tomorrow in Crash 3. You're not backtracking in that one, but you do have to do a section of the level twice, just because of its structure. You're not exactly backtracking, but you know, it's close. It's similar to backtracking. Did I jump over that the first time, or am I on the main path? No, I think I'm on the main path now. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so this is one of the few times where I'm actually going to be using the crawling feature. This is exciting! Right, so this is where you gotta use your head a bit. Or you can just fall between the boxes like that. Thankfully, again, you can try these as many times as you want. And even in the original, you didn't have to worry about... Like, in the original Crash 1, you only had one try at each bonus room. Really annoying when you're going for the keys. In this, you have as many tries as you like. However, once you step on the platform at the end, if you've missed something, you won't be able to re-enter the level. It's closed off. You have no way of getting back to it. Same with Crash 3 and Wrath of Cortex. You want to hit this. Grab the extra life if you want it. I do, because I die very easily in Crash 3. In Crash 2. And that's how you do that. It's a little bit of a puzzle element. There's a few levels that are like this. And then... by the time that you get back to them, you only have to bounce on them once. And of course requires you to bounce on them in the first place. So these are the steel crates. They can only be broken using the belly flop. There's not that many of them, but there are two levels in particular where they're quite annoying. One of them is when you're in the dark. Similar to Lights Out and fumbling in the dark, only this time with a Firefly. And that Firefly is under a time limit, so you're pretty much required to go into the dark where you can't see where the bottomless pit is. And then break the steel crates in there so that the fly doesn't go away. So you then go back to the fly and then continue the level from there, hoping that you didn't miss anything. It's not so bad in the n.sane trilogy because you know, you may need to adjust the brightness on your TV a bit, but you can still somewhat see the crates. And you couldn't do that in the original though, so you're completely blind when doing it. The other level is in one of the boulder chasing levels, where, yeah, you're being chased by a boulder and they have you use the belly flop with all timings. There we go. I love being able to do that now. It was something I only found out quite recently. I slid into him! Okay, I can't slide into his head, I guess. Surely of all the parts of his body, it should be his head that I'm most capable of killing him with. Spikes or not, there's no spikes on his head. And yet the only way to kill them is to slide into them. I don't even think the spin works. That is really terrifying. Like, in the original, the moment you open, like, that gem appears the moment you've broken all of the crates, I believe. So it's already there when you open the door. Here you gotta be a certain distance from it, and it's really annoying. Because it makes you think you failed. Especially if you've played a lot of Crash 2 before. But anyway, because of our constant back and forth with all of these loading screens, this part is going to be fairly long. So I'm going to end things off here. But we do have a cutscene coming up. And after that we'll complete the other 3 levels of the first tier. There's 5 tiers in total. And maybe fight the boss.
So, you are helping Cortex gather crystals. Yet, you have acquired a gem. Interesting. Well, Crash, know this. As long as you are allied with Cortex, you are my sworn enemy, and I will do anything in my power to stop you. If the fate of the world is truly your concern, you must gather the gems, not the crystals. if you obtain all 42 gems, I can use them to focus a laser. Ah, yes, a laser beam that will destroy Cortex and the space station he has created. Until then, I must use my forces to stop you from gathering crystals.
Yeah, the brain has become quite crazy. Yeah, I forget the actor's name. It's Maurice something. He voices the brain in Pinky and the Brain in the Animaniacs. So the brain has had a falling out with Pinky, and now he wants us to collect the gems to defeat him. So he's essentially the good guy in this game. He won't rejoin Cortex until Mind of a Mutant, though he has a non-speaking role in Crash to Insanity, a very minor one. One thing I will actually say that the n.sane Trilogy does worse than the original. It's weird saying that when it comes to a graphical thing, but those projectors, they look better in the original. Yeah, for one thing, I just find they actually look a bit more like a projector image. That just looks like a see-through head. But you know, Cortex said that they're hard to maintain. The yo-yo. Cortex said they're hard to maintain, but it looks like he's having no issue with them. But there's like static, the head will disappear and come back and all that in the original. None of that happens here. And like when Cortex interrupts when Coco interrupts Cortex, Cortex will sort of just fade away and it will then become Coco. In this, Cortex actually stops what he's saying. It then disappears like normal, and then Coco appears like normal. And it just doesn't. It just looks. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like she's actually hacking in. It almost looks like she's saying, "Okay, Coco, now it's your turn." So you don't get any of that. Even moments where it's supposed to be like he's interrupted, it doesn't have the sound effects for it, and it just sounds like he's finishing his sentence. So he's not being interrupted. Anyway, this part's already gone on long enough. So we have 3 more levels to do, although one of them we're not actually going to be fully finishing. So I will see you guys then.